A long time ago, in a small village, there lived a poor woodcutter named Raghu. Raghu was an incredibly hard-working man, but luck never seemed to be on his side. Every day, he would head deep into the forest, chop wood for hours, and carry heavy bundles back to the village. Yet no matter how hard he worked, he barely earned enough money to keep food on the table. His wife had passed away several years earlier, and ever since then, his entire world revolved around his 10-year-old daughter, Meera. Meera was a sweet, intelligent little girl with a kind heart. No matter how difficult life became, she always tried to encourage her father. "Don't worry, Dad," she would say with a smile. "One day our poverty will be gone. Things will get better." Raghu would smile back at her, but deep down he worried constantly about their future. Then one day, a terrible storm struck the village. Heavy rain poured from the sky, and powerful winds swept across the land. Many trees in the forest were knocked down by the storm. Seeing an opportunity, Raghu thought to himself, "If I can collect more wood today, maybe I'll earn some extra money." So he grabbed his axe and headed into the forest. As he gathered fallen branches and chopped wood, he became so focused on his work that he completely lost track of time. Slowly, darkness began to cover the forest. Before he realized it, night had fallen. The entire forest was swallowed by shadows. Then suddenly, Raghu noticed something unusual. Far in the distance, a strange blue light glowed among the trees. Curious, he followed it. As he got closer, he saw a massive old banyan tree standing in the middle of the forest. Beneath the tree was a small cottage. Raghu stopped in surprise. He had spent years working in these woods, yet he had never seen a cottage there before. Cautiously, he walked toward it. The moment he reached the front door, it slowly creaked open by itself. A chill ran down his spine. Inside the cottage sat an old woman. Her long white hair flowed down her shoulders. Her eyes glowed with a mysterious blue light. But strangely, she didn't look frightening. Instead, she looked sad. The old woman looked directly at him and said, "Raghu, I've been waiting for you." Raghu froze. "How do you know my name?" he asked nervously. The old woman smiled. "Because," she said softly, "I am the witch of this forest." The moment Raghu heard those words, fear rushed through his body. A witch? His heart started pounding. Then the witch reached into her robe and pulled out a glowing blue stone. The stone sparkled like a piece of the night sky. Holding it in her hand, she said, "This stone can end all of your poverty." Raghu's eyes widened. Could this really change his life? Could it finally give Meera the future she deserved? But then the witch continued. "In exchange," she said, "you must give me the thing you love most." Raghu fell silent. He didn't own anything valuable. No gold, no land, no treasures. Then suddenly, one thought entered his mind. Meera. Immediately, he shook his head. "No," he said firmly, "I would never give you my daughter." The witch stared at him, and to Raghu's surprise, tears began to fill her glowing blue eyes. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then she quietly said, "Many years ago, I had a son." Her voice trembled. "I loved him more than anything in the world." She looked down at the floor. "But greedy people believed I was dangerous. They called me a witch and drove me out of the village." A tear rolled down her cheek, "and because of that, I was separated from my son forever." Silence filled the cottage. For the first time, Raghu saw something he hadn't noticed before. The woman sitting in front of him wasn't just a witch. She was a lonely mother. A mother who had lost the person she loved most. Suddenly, all of his fear disappeared. He gently said, "I don't need wealth." The witch looked up. Raghu continued, "If you're truly alone, then Meera and I can come visit you sometimes." The witch stared at him in disbelief. For hundreds of years, every human who met her had reacted with fear. They had judged her before knowing her. But this man was different. Instead of running away, he had offered friendship. At that very moment, the entire cottage began glowing with brilliant blue light. Outside, magical particles started floating around the giant banyan tree like tiny stars dancing in the air. The witch smiled warmly. "Raghu," she said, "you have given me the greatest treasure of all." She raised her hand and cast a spell. The next morning, Raghu woke up to an incredible sight. Behind his house stood a beautiful orchard filled with fruit trees. The branches were heavy with fresh fruit. There were apples, mangoes, oranges, and countless other fruits. The orchard provided more than enough food and income for Raghu and Meera. From that day forward, he no longer needed to spend his life chopping wood in the forest. And after that day, Meera and Raghu often visited the cottage beneath the old banyan tree. They shared meals with the witch. They talked for hours. They laughed together. Slowly, the loneliness that had haunted her for centuries began to disappear. Over time, even the villagers realized something important. Not every witch is evil. Some hearts are simply looking for love, kindness, and a place where they belong. And that's why you should never judge someone by their appearance. Sometimes, behind the most frightening face, you'll find the kindest heart of all.